In the 4 years I was with Amelia Liu, we were very compatible, so compatible that it gave her an illusion. Maybe spending a lifetime together with Joey wouldn't be so bad. So she began publicly displaying our affection. News spread everywhere that I was going to marry her. But just at this critical moment, my brother, who had married and moved abroad, suddenly got divorced and returned home. Amelia personally picked him up from the airport, took him to various events, and helped him expand his network. Everyone was waiting to see me become a laughingstock, but instead I felt relieved. Phew, scared me to death. Who wants to marry her anyway? When Luis returned home, Amelia was in my bed. I grabbed her waist, pinning her hands down on the bed. Her face was flushed, already aroused, but the moment that special ringtone rang, she snapped out of it like a startled fish and slipped away. I caught her hand. "Where are you going?" She brushed me off and said, "Luis called me." It must be urgent. She hurriedly answered the phone, not even bothering to put her shoes on. I don't know what was said on the other end, but her furrowed brow slowly relaxed. "You can't do this again next time. Wait for me, I'll be right there." When Amelia went to shower, I lay in bed, lost in thought. I didn't care what Luis said to Amelia. I was just thinking about that ringtone, the special ringtone Luis had set on Amelia's phone before he went abroad. He once told her, "You can't change this ringtone. When you hear it, you'll think of me." But no matter how much Amelia begged him to stay, Luis left resolutely, going abroad alone. That day, Amelia drank a lot. She angrily smashed her phone on the ground, shattering the screen, but later she regretted it. She cried all night, full of resentment and helplessness. When she got a new phone, for some reason, she wanted to find that special ringtone again. At first, she just wanted to hear it one last time, to say a final goodbye to the past. But she couldn't remember which one it was. Night after night, she lay in bed listening to song after song, hoping to hear that familiar melody. It became an obsession she couldn't let go of, and just now, that special ringtone had suddenly rung again, waking her up, and waking me up too. So she had unconsciously found that ringtone again, hadn't she? Amelia came out quickly, dressing while saying, "I'm going out. Don't wait for me," but I called her back. "Amelia, let's end this here." My relationship with Amelia had always been messy. At first, when someone asked her, "Are you dating Joey?" she shook her head. "Just friends with benefits," I didn't comment. After all, she wasn't wrong, but 2 years later, when she introduced me to others, she said, "This is my boyfriend." I was stunned for a moment, but I didn't say much. Half a year ago, she suddenly asked if I was willing to marry her. I nodded and proposed in a meticulously arranged setting. That day, she smiled so brilliantly, and I got caught up in that beautiful illusion until I overheard her conversation with her best friend. Her friend was shocked. "Are you serious?" Amelia smiled ambiguously, a smile that was both helpless and like a compromise with fate. She said, "Maybe spending a lifetime together with Joey wouldn't be so bad." I felt uneasy, restless every day. I didn't know what was wrong with me until Luis made that call, and then I suddenly felt relieved. Turns out, I didn't want to marry Amelia at all. What did you say? Amelia's flustered expression froze. The next second, resentment filled her face. Her gaze was heavy as she looked at me, but I didn't care, so I smiled and said, "I said we are done. It ends here." I always thought she'd never show that expression again. Resentment mixed with helplessness. The same look she had the night Luis left. But this time she didn't cry. She just looked at me like she wanted to tear me to pieces. Moments later, she turned her head, leaving me only with her cold, distant back and a faint whisper. Then so be it. I heard about Luis's return from a friend, along with news of his divorce. It seems the young model cheated on him. She said it was for the sake of art, so she slept with the photographer. In the end, not only did she cheat on him, but she also took his money and ran. Ah, artists. We really don't understand them. I found it amusing. I remembered when Luis insisted on marrying that model and resolutely went abroad with her. He said she was his muse, the purest light in the world. He said ordinary people like us, with our prejudiced views, didn't understand love, let alone undying devotion. But what he couldn't see was that what kept their love alive was the money sent from home every month. And that money? I was the one who earned it. But none of that mattered now. It had been 3 days since I told Amelia we were done. I texted her, asking when she would come pack up her things. She ignored me, so I contacted her assistant, who kept making excuses, changed the locks and decided not to bother anymore. I had bought this house for Amelia because she said she liked hearing the river flow under the bridge every morning, so I stayed with her in this inconvenient place on the edge of the city. But now that I had moved back to my spacious apartment near the office, I realized how foolish I had been before. Isn't it nice to sleep half an hour longer? Back at the office, I suddenly remembered there was a banquet tonight. Originally, I was supposed to attend with Amelia, but now I needed to find someone else. So I asked my assistant to arrange a companion for the banquet. She looked puzzled. "Aren't you going with Manager Liu?" "She should be going with someone else," I replied. Her expression changed several times, as if imagining something scandalous. "Don't worry, Mr. Wang. I'll arrange the best for you." But then she said awkwardly, "Mr. Wang, it's a special holiday. No one's taking orders. How about we make do?" I was speechless. "What do you mean by make do?" "Currently, only a courier girl is willing to take the order. Her profile says she loves boxing and is a fierce lady. What do you think, Mr. Wang?" I asked helplessly, "Do I have a choice?" She shook her head innocently. What else could I do but agree? But when I saw her in person, I was stunned. How do I describe her? Curvaceous figure, bright eyes, white teeth, smooth and tender skin, long legs with firm yet elegant lines that made my heart race. This wasn't making do. This was finding a hidden gem among courier girls, a bona fide goddess. If only she weren't so talkative. We're a proper company. We don't take escort jobs. Of course, it's not entirely off the table, but that's a different price. And manager Amelia Liu, she won't complain about me, right? I have a 99.9% positive rating. If I get a complaint, my bonus is gone. Of course, all this can be resolved if you insist. Shut up! I couldn't take it anymore, gritting my teeth. She looked innocent, calmly finishing her sentence. It'll cost extra. I took a deep breath. Be quiet or I'll file a complaint. Of course, if you perform well, I'll give you a 5-figure bonus afterward. She gave a satisfied okay sign. Don't worry, I'm a professional. The professional lady had sharp eyes. As soon as she walked in the banquet hall, she exclaimed, "What the hell?" My brow twitched. "No swearing," she pointed not far away. "Your fiancé is over there." Of course, just Amelia alone wouldn't have shocked her that much. The main thing was the man standing next to her, and Amelia was holding his arm. Smiling charmingly, Leona smirked like she was enjoying the drama. "You've been cheated on." I was speechless. "That's my brother." She got even more excited, almost laughing. Wow, double kill. I wasn't sure if it was Leona's playful teasing or if I was just calm, but watching Amelia and Luis, I didn't feel much. I didn't plan to go greet them either, but Luis came over on his own. "Brother, long time no see. I've been back for days and I finally get to see you. Why haven't you been answering my calls?" Unbelievable. His tone was passive-aggressive, clearly implying that I was avoiding him. He continued, "Mom and Dad miss you too. When are you coming home for dinner? They'd be so happy, amazing." He was now implying I was an unfilial son. Seeing me stay silent, he added, "I even brought you a gift. Please don't be mad at your brother anymore. Damn. This bastard hasn't changed at all, indirectly calling me petty and narrow-minded. Ever since we were kids, this was how he acted. He'd make a mistake, say it was his fault, and somehow everyone ended up thinking it was my fault. As I grew older, I realized Luis was manipulative to the core, so I said, "Answer your call?" "When did you call me?" "Brother, your memory must be failing. Could it be you don't remember your brother's number, but you remember your ex-sister-in-law's number?" I bit out the words sister-in-law through gritted teeth. Almost nauseated, people around us started whispering, clearly intrigued by the drama, and then Leona, furious, began adding fuel to the fire. "Mad at you? What did you do to wrong Joey? Don't be vague. Tell us, what do you mean brought a gift so don't be mad? Are you apologizing or being passive-aggressive? If you're apologizing, say it honestly. If you're being passive-aggressive, let's lay it all out and see whose fault it really is. After all, if you've done something terrible, we might have to resort to drastic measures and uphold justice." She spoke so quickly that Luis couldn't even get a word in, until Amelia coldly asked, Who are you? Her sharp gaze swept over Leona and me, landing on Leona's hand holding my arm. I met her gaze, holding Leona's hand tighter, and took half a step forward. So, miss, who are you? I was ready to face off with Amelia. But suddenly, Leona swung me from the left to the right. Whoa, I was completely taken aback. This girl actually threw me to the other side like I was trash. For a second, I felt like I had teleported. Damn, she's strong. Then I remembered what the assistant said. Loves boxing. Fierce lady. Guess that wasn't a metaphor. Amelia glared at Leona. Take your hand off. Leona raised her chin proudly, deliberately interlocking fingers with me. In a lawful society, harassing someone else's companion is not allowed. Amelia, clearly agitated, began. I am his fiancé, but Luis interrupted. Panicking, tightly grabbing her arm, Amelia looked at me, just once. Then she let Luis hold her hand tightly and turned to leave, suppressing her resentment. That night, aside from the drama with Amelia and Luis, Leona was very professional. She said her face was about to go numb from smiling, and having to smile gently was especially difficult. She even asked if I was tired. It's ridiculous, I replied. Drinking, smiling, chatting, and just to maintain dignity, I could only eat a little. I felt like my soul had been drained. Hearing this made me want to slap her. Damn, she ate 4 whole Peruvian roast chickens. Where was my dignity? Couldn't she see everyone looking at us in shock? But I had to admit, it really was exhausting. I gave Leona a big red envelope and told her I'd request her again next time. She left with a dark face, muttering over and over, I'm a decent person. I nodded absent-mindedly. Sure. I'll recommend you for more work next time. After sending Leona off, I slowly went home. As soon as I got upstairs, I saw Amelia. She was standing there, expressionless, looking at me calmly. I didn't want to deal with her, so I tried to walk past, but she bumped into my chest, grabbed me tightly, refusing to let go. I reached out to pry her arms off me. She ignored me and stood on tiptoe, kissing me. I froze in shock, then pushed her away hard and shouted, Get away! Amelia stumbled but got back up as if she hadn't heard me, and clung to me again. I grabbed her by the collar and held her at arm's length. Keeping her away from me, she looked at me incredulous, then stepped back, her gaze poisonous. You pushed me? Who do you think you are? Wasn't it you who was so horny you had to crawl into my bed like a dog in heat? Even though I had said it was over, even though I thought I had let go, my heart clenched sharply. It felt like it stopped beating for a few seconds, my mouth filled with the taste of iron. So this was how she had always seen me. I nodded and said, Yes, you're right. I was horny. I initiated it. But so what? Did I force you? We played a consensual game. Now I'm saying it's over. So it's over. If you touch me again, that's unacceptable. Amelia and I could be considered childhood friends. We were born in the same year. Me being 3 months older, our families had business dealings. And our parents were friends. Even our homes were connected. Amelia was the first person I ever had a crush on. But she didn't like me. She liked Luis. Luis was sunny, cheerful, like a little sun. As for me, Joey, I was dull, boring, lifeless. Some people even doubted Luis and I were real brothers. Our surnames are different. Could Joey be adopted by the Phew family? Maybe he's an illegitimate child. Rumors like that spread everywhere for a while. When Amelia heard them, she unusually forced Luis to apologize to me. Luis grinned mischievously and said, Brother, don't be mad. Some friends were just joking. Who knew ill-intentioned people would spread it? I thought Amelia had done it for me, but later, I realized it was for Luis, to prevent others from thinking Luis's father had been fooling around. Amelia had always loved Luis deeply. So when Luis met his so-called true love, had a flash marriage, and moved abroad, Amelia became like a desperate, trapped beast. And that was when I took advantage of the situation and made my suggestion to her. Amelia said, I don't like you. I replied, We don't have to talk about feelings, do we? I never needed Amelia to like me. Being with her wasn't about growing deep feelings over time. It was about weighing the pros and cons, fulfilling each other's needs. Luis has been back for half a month now. During this time, Amelia has been by his side, going to events and helping him expand his network, and it seems my mom finally remembered I existed. She called me and immediately started scolding. Luis has been back for so long, and you haven't helped him or even called him. Joey, do you still consider yourself a member of the Phew family? It was almost funny, as if considering myself part of the Phew family would make them see me as one. Do you need anything? If not, I'm hanging up, I said. My mom knew my temper well. Though she was angry, she got to the point. Come home for dinner tonight. I have something to discuss. Also, bring back the cufflinks you bought last time. Luis will love them. I chuckled and hung up. What a bold request. $30 million canary diamond cufflinks. Who wouldn't like them? Ordinarily, I shouldn't have gone to such a trap-filled dinner, but I knew if I didn't go, my mom would storm into my office tomorrow, just like when Luis stubbornly wanted to marry that young model. My mom stormed into my office and slapped me, demanding to know why I hadn't managed Luis properly. But I slapped Luis in the face and sternly asked him, "When did you start associating with such disreputable people?" When I got home, dinner had already started. They looked like a harmonious family of 3, and Amelia was there too. When she saw me, she paused, stared for a moment, then looked away expressionlessly. Luis was the first to get up, pulling me toward the table. "Brother, don't be mad at Mom and Dad. You know I have low blood sugar. When you didn't come back, they were worried I'd get hungry, so they didn't wait for you." My mom's face darkened. "Don't mind him. If he can't be on time, whose fault is that?" I smiled. "Then should I leave?" My mom glared at me, gritting her teeth. "Come with me." I lazily followed her into the kitchen. "What's the matter?" She hesitated, then said, "Luis is going to get engaged to Amelia." I was stunned. The next second, she continued eagerly, "Amelia has always liked Luis. It was you who shamelessly fought with Luis for her. Now that Luis is back, shouldn't you return Amelia to him? Besides, Amelia doesn't even like you. Let it go, and don't tell Luis about the mess between you and Amelia." Not just others. Even I had often doubted whether I was their real child. So, when I was a kid, I took their hair and did a paternity test. The result disappointed me. What a pity. My distracted look made her unhappy. "Did you hear what I said?" she snapped. I was about to respond when Luis walked in. "Mom, what are you secretly telling brother? Don't hide it from me. I want to know too." My mom's expression immediately softened. "Your brother said he brought you a gift," she said gently, pushing me forward. Luis looked at me expectantly. "Brother, really? A gift?" I smirked. "Do you dare to take a gift from your brother?" Luis's face stiffened, clearly remembering past unpleasantness. My mom wanted to speak, but I had already walked to the living room. After all, I still had something important to do. What a feast! The table was filled with all of Luis's favorites. I looked at Amelia with a dark expression. She stood up, frightened, taking a few steps back. "What's wrong? What happened?" I smiled at her. "I'm fine. Really fine. Never been better." I grabbed the edge of the table and lifted it slightly. It was heavy. No wonder. It was marble. But since I had come to this trap-filled dinner, I was prepared, so I made a call. "Leona, bring the hammer up here." Less than 10 seconds later, Leona burst in. "What do you want to do?" I tilted my chin. "Hand it to me, Joey. Don't you dare." I wasn't sure whose voices those were, probably Amelia and my mom. But I didn't care. Just as I was about to swing the hammer, my dad and Luis grabbed my hands. At that moment, Leona seemed to realize what was happening. "You should have said so earlier." The next second, she raised her fist high, and then it came down like a gust of wind. With just one punch, the marble table cracked from the point of impact. Cracks spread like spiderwebs across the entire table. Then came the crisp sound of dishes falling, food splattering everywhere. The whole table was smashed. The sound was music to my ears. My mom was stunned. My brother was stunned. Amelia was stunned. Only I smiled in satisfaction. No wonder she's my fierce lady, the female boxer. I definitely had to give her a bonus. I first met Leona at the security booth. She was wearing a uniform from a delivery company, pestering the guard to let her in to deliver food. "Aren't you a courier?" She chuckled. Same thing. I'm just short on money, so I let her into the car. Originally, I had planned to honor our previous verbal agreement, giving her a job as my secretary and this time having her wait in the car with the hammer, but I didn't expect her to have such skills. My mom tried to rush over and hit me, but Leona blocked her. "Auntie, do you want to try my slap?" My mom covered her face, retreating several steps. "Joey, are you crazy?" Louise supported my mom, angrily scolding me. "Brother, apologize to mom right now." I looked away and said to Leona, "Let's go." With Leona by my side, no one dared stop me. But just as we were about to leave the front yard, Amelia caught up. Her gaze pierced past Leona, landing on me. "Joey, who is she?" I pulled Leona closer. "What do you think?" Amelia's face darkened. I turned to leave. She spoke again. "Luis said he wants to be with me." I paused. "Oh, congratulations. You got what you wanted. Is there nothing else you want to say? When you get married, I'll bring a gift." Amelia laughed, an ugly laugh, worse than crying. "Good, very good." Watching her leave, Leona rubbed her palm. Why do I feel like she's such a pretentious coquette? I stayed silent for a while, then asked nervously, "How are you so strong?" She clenched her fist and twirled it next to her flushed cheek. If I hadn't just seen her smash a table, I would have thought she was being cute. She said proudly, "Don't underestimate women. I've been at Mount Emi, and I've dabbled in Muay Thai, Judo, and Taekwondo." Looking at her lively face, I grew curious. What kind of family raised such a kid? "Want to be my personal secretary?" Leona blinked. "Personal? How personal? Is it the proper kind of secretary?" I was speechless. She shrank her neck. Well, how much is the salary? How much do you want?" Leona held up a hand. 50,000? I asked. She was about to wave it off when I said, "That's fine." Leona's eyes widened. I looked at her. "What were you about to say?" She suddenly hugged me tightly, rubbing her face against my clothes. "From now on, you are my benefactor. I promise to be on call 24/7. I felt like a tightly wrapped noodle. All right. I get it, let go. We can discuss this calmly. After this incident, I knew the coming days wouldn't be peaceful. I knew what kind of people my parents and brother were. And I could guess the tricks they'd pull, and with Amelia as a wild card, I just hoped things wouldn't get too heated. At 11 that night, I had just finished a video conference, poured a cup of yellow wine, and was about to go to bed. Then a friend called. "What's going on? How come Luis and Amelia are together, even kissing in public? Didn't you propose to her? Such a fuss over nothing. Didn't Luis get together with her as soon as he came back?" But back then, she said she treated Luis like a brother and told us not to gossip. No wonder these questions were coming now. It made sense. Maybe Luis hadn't given her a clear signal before. And she hadn't wanted to make things difficult for him. But now that Luis had softened, she must have been eager once I figured it out. Everything suddenly became clear. "Is everyone there? Yes, are you coming?" "I'm not coming. Put me on speaker. I have something to say. Not many people knew about my proposal to Amelia. Besides our parents, only this group of friends knew. Now it was time to set the record straight. Otherwise, it would always seem like I'd been cheated on. So I said, Amelia and I are over. From now on, she's free to marry whoever she wants, and it's none of my business." After that, I hung up. I didn't care whether Luis heard it or not. If they wanted to hide it from him, that was their problem. I never agreed to that. Besides, Luis must already know. I don't believe he doesn't. I drained the wine in one gulp, coughed hard, and was about to go to bed when I heard noise outside. In the middle of the night, someone was disturbing the peace. I opened the door, ready to yell, but there was Leona, grinning brightly. "Good evening." "What are you doing?" She pointed to the house across from mine. "Moving in." I rubbed my forehead in frustration. "Moving in?" She nodded eagerly. "How can I be your personal secretary if I don't live nearby? What if you need something when I'm not around?" I wanted to say, "You're overthinking this," but when I saw her hopeful eyes, I hesitated. So I asked, "How much is the rent?" "I'll reimburse you." Leona didn't hesitate and handed me the rental agreement. Her straightforwardness defeated me. "Keep quiet. I'm going to sleep," she mimed, zipping her lips. Gave me an okay sign and nodded seriously with a look that said, "You can trust me." I sighed, closed the door, and expected some noise, but it was completely quiet. So quiet that I fell asleep peacefully. The next day, I brought Leona to the office. The assistant's eyes widened when she saw her. Seeing her expression, I immediately clarified, From now on, she'll be by my side as my personal secretary. Enter her information." The assistant nodded quickly and even secretly gave Leona a thumbs up. As we walked through the office, everyone's eyes were drawn to us. Watching Leona with her striking looks and tall figure. Following closely behind me, the employees whispered and smiled. I didn't need to hear them to know what they were thinking. Leona, completely carefree, laughed loudly behind me. "What are you laughing at?" I asked. She said, "Everyone's laughing." Wouldn't it be weird if I didn't laugh too? I was speechless. Are you really this naive? Did you put all your skill points into strength? But soon, everyone realized my secretary wasn't the type they thought she'd be. During the morning meeting, my mom brought Luis and tried to barge in, but Leona blocked them. Seeing her, they obediently followed her to my office and waited, letting me finish the meeting without interruption. When I returned, my mom was furious. "What are you trying to do? Do you want to drive Luis and me to our deaths? Didn't you promise me you wouldn't tell Luis about you and Amelia?" "I never promised," I said. Then I looked at Luis. "And how do you know he doesn't already know?" Luis lifted his head, his expression half resentful, half questioning. "Brother, you knew Amelia loved me, yet you took advantage of her. Don't you feel despicable?" I took a step forward and asked, "Were you married to her at the time?" He answered, "No, but were you with her at the time?" "Although not, but..." "Who was she to you then? Your girlfriend? Your wife?" He was silent for a moment before muttering, "She was nothing." I sneered. "Good, so she was nothing, and yet you dare question me? What I did with her, how I did it, has nothing to do with you. And who are you? You went off to pursue your own so-called great love. What now, you got married and you still want a backup? Someone like you, blind and indulgent, dares to act deeply affectionate and lecture me? I suggest you clear the water from your brain. Every time you think it reeks, like you've been playing with mud inside your skull." Luis's face turned red, his body trembling. Finally, he said, "It's your fault. Amelia said you forced her." "She said that?" Luis lifted his chin. "Yes," I laughed. "Good, let her sue. Call the police. Don't you dare hesitate. Take her, go right now. Or do you want me to drive you there? Do you have no shame?" My mom shouted, raising her hand to hit me, but I grabbed her wrist and stopped her. Luis shouted angrily, "You dare hit Mom? You really are a bastard with no parents." He raised his fist, pretending to punch me, but when he saw Leona's bright, eager expression, he froze. I let go of my mom's hand, glanced at the time, and asked, "Anything else? Will you leave on your own, or should I call security?" The drama ended. I thought maybe today would finally be peaceful, but my assistant came rushing in. Manager Liu rejected the cooperation plan submitted a week ago. I asked sharply, "Reason?" The assistant shook his head. "No reason. Submit it again," I said. Rejected again. Clearly, Amelia did this on purpose. I called her. "What do you want?" She said softly, "If you want to talk, come yourself." Leona drove me to Amelia's company. She slipped a panic button into my pocket. For the first time, she looked serious. "Press here and wait 10 seconds, she said. 10 seconds? What are you, a superhero? Anyway, she said, just press it. It's not like I was going into a lion's den. I believed that no matter the business dispute, there were always limits. In her office, Amelia spoke slowly. "Uncle wants to return to the company. If you step down as president and hand the company over to him, all cooperation between Phew and Liu will continue as usual." I silently looked at her and asked, "Is this also Luis's request?" Amelia frowned, displeased. "What does this have to do with Luis?" "Amelia," I began, "this company was built step by me, and you know it's my grandfather's legacy. And yet you still want to do this?" Amelia pressed her lips together. "Why are you always so stubborn? You know that if you take a step back, your relationship with the family can improve. Why must it come to this, Joey? I'm doing this for your own good. I promise if you give up the company, I'll mediate and have Uncle and Aunt forgive you. You don't have to do this. Once we get married, I could barely hear her. Just that one word, forgive, left me stunned. Forgive me? Why do they need to forgive me? Do they even have that right? Amelia, do you even hear yourself? Just because I don't like to think about some things doesn't mean I've forgotten them. They swarmed me, tearing the plant from my hands and shoving me hard against the wall. I finally found the panic button buried deep in my pocket and pressed it. 10. 9, 8, 7. Leona had said it would only take 10 seconds. 6, 5. The guards pinned me to the ground. Amelia stood above me, her high heel hovering over my hand. Her voice was cold. What did you say? I kept counting. 4, 3, 2, bang! A loud crash shook the room. The office door was kicked open with such force that it left a massive hole in the middle. I turned my head. And there she was, Leona. Her stunning figure stood proudly in the doorway, her fist still extended from the blow. The entire room froze, and Amelia instinctively took several steps back. Leona's eyes gleamed with mischief. It's lively here. Before anyone could react, she rushed to my side, tossing the guards aside like they weighed nothing, and even kicking Amelia out of the way. Joey, are you okay? I gritted my teeth, my whole body trembling. Let's go. I knew I had completely lost my composure. Leona practically dragged me out of the office. Behind us, Amelia's furious voice rang out. Joey! How dare you leave? Leona didn't even ask me where I wanted to go. She brought me straight to her home. It was simply decorated with no ornaments or clutter and felt almost stark, lifeless. She paced the room a few times before finally bringing out a single can of beer. Scratching her head awkwardly, she said, I wanted to find you something else, but this is all I have. Maybe you should go back. Before she could finish, I took the beer from her hand. This will do. I didn't want to go home. Even though my apartment was right across the street, I didn't want to be alone. Leona, who was usually talkative, was quiet. She just sat with me, drinking can after can of beer. Until I was slightly tipsy, I started to speak. I told her about my grandfather's last words to me. About the decline of the Phew Corporation, the company my parents had coveted for so long, now already a fading flower. When I took over, my father had already ruined it beyond recognition. I was the only one holding it together, purely by force of will. It was exhausting. I didn't dare relax, afraid of disappointing my grandparents. Afraid they'd blame me? But have you ever thought about it? Leona's voice broke the silence. Your grandfather wasn't trying to save the company. He was trying to protect you. I blinked, not understanding. She continued. You had just started college and your parents were awful to you. Without that company as a shield, how would you have survived? Would you have been bullied? Would they have hurt you? Sure, with the crown comes the burden, but that crown kept them from touching you. Your grandfather probably didn't care about the company as much as he cared about keeping you safe. Her words left me stunned. I suddenly saw my grandfather's distressed, reluctant expression on his deathbed. It was as if he were saying, Joe, Grandpa can't protect you anymore. What will you do? My voice trembled. No one's ever told me that, I murmured. I had never thought of it that way. Everyone had seen me as a beneficiary, and I had always seen myself as carrying a heavy burden. That suffocating exhaustion had always pressed down on me, making it hard to breathe. But now, someone told me I was still being protected. Even though they were gone, they were still protecting me in their own way. I sat quietly on the carpet all night. Leona didn't try to comfort me or offer advice. She just sat across from me, silently keeping me company. When the sky began to lighten, I finally asked softly, How did you get there in 10 seconds? She smiled. I was following you the whole time. I told you, I'm a personal secretary. How could I let you go up there alone? She was shouting, her arms flailing. I've been out for 3 hours and you come to mess things up? So annoying. Amelia clutched her aching stomach, her face growing paler. You're getting back at me, aren't you? You're not really together. You're just getting back at me, aren't you? Fine, I lose. Joey, I give up. Just come back. I'll agree to anything. You're really asking for it. Leona raged, struggling like a wild boar. I turned back in irritation amid the chaos. You're overthinking it. No revenge. I just don't like you anymore. I didn't see Amelia's reaction, but Leona laughed. Don't like her anymore, and did you hear that? He's mine. Her tone was as triumphant as could be. Amelia was eventually escorted out by security, along with the terrified, slumped Luis. None of that was my concern. My main task was to calm someone down. She was about to explode. Leona crossed her arms, pacing back and forth in anger. How did she get up here? Is the downstairs security system just for show? And those security guards, are they useless? No way. You need to fire them all and replace them. I refuse to believe she can't be stopped. Her pacing made my eyes hurt. Can you sit down for a moment? She glared at me. I'm annoyed, I sighed. Let me hold you for a bit. I'm tired, she paused. After a second of hesitation, she obediently walked over to me. I wrapped my arms around her waist, pulling her into my lap. Finally, some peace. Where did you go? I had some business back at the company. Leona held multiple roles. Besides being my personal secretary, she also had a position at a design studio. I found out later that this seemingly tough delivery girl had studied design. On a whim, I asked, "Do you want me to invest in you and set up a studio for you?" Actually, I need to tell you something. Hearing the reluctance in her voice, I looked up suspiciously. What is it? Did you cheat on me? Impossible. She almost jumped up. Then what is it? She picked up the finance magazine on my desk and pointed to an interview on the cover. You know this person, right? Yeah, he's my dad, and that design studio, it's mine. I'm the rich second-generation heir you talk about. Who should be living off their family's wealth but insists on starting a business? Life is indeed full of surprises. Leona explained that her father always saw her as a problem child. He wanted her to go to business school. She chose to study design. He wanted her to study abroad. She chose to stay home and learn martial arts. He wanted her to return and take over the family business. She chose to start her own company. I'm not trying to defy my dad. I have my own ideas. I was practically born in Rome, and for me, studying or starting a business is just training. But for many others, it's a matter of survival. I had a classmate who was excellent and had great ambitions. After graduation, she got married and had kids. When I saw her again, she was working as a cashier at a convenience store. Those hands could draw the most beautiful clothes. But now they're doing repetitive, meaningless work. I've met too many girls like that. Because of their gender, their age, or past choices, they don't get opportunities. I just want to give them another chance. I looked at her silently. Then why did you work as a delivery girl? Leona's mouth turned downwards. I ran out of money. I couldn't pay salaries. So you took on side jobs to support your company? Yes. Sigh. Looking at the helpless kitten before me, I patted her head. How is your company doing now? She looked even more broken. Not good. Gather your company's financial statements and operational reports for me. What are you going to do? I'll evaluate them. If it's worth investing in, I'll invest in it under the name of Yellow Jacket. And if it's not worth it, then I'll invest in it under my name. Leona hugged me tightly. What if it fails? I kissed her. If it fails, it fails. I can afford it. But I will have to work even harder. Yellow Jacket continued to grow as planned. Meanwhile, news about Phew Corporation kept reaching my ears. They say a new broom sweeps clean. The first thing my father did was set up a studio for his beloved son, reportedly poaching several top-notch agents at a high price. He invested heavily in promotion and hype, waiting for a big hit. He also used his connections to land a major government project. Just as he was enjoying his success, my mother hosted an extravagant banquet as if to show off their newfound status. Of course, I wasn't invited. Amelia wasn't present either. I heard she and Luis had fallen out after the incident. One day she called me drunk. Leona, tapping on her phone, asked me, "Can I block her?" I thought, "You're already doing it and still asking me?" But I nodded. Yes, Amelia must have tried to find me. I heard rumors, but I never saw her. I have to admit, when it comes to tight security, Leona is a pro. For her good performance, she asked for a reward. She wanted me to meet her parents. I was quite nervous. But her mother was kind. Her father, however, seemed hesitant. We exchanged contact information. On the way back, her father messaged me, "Are you interested in joining my company?" Leona was exasperated. "He's given up on me and wants to poach you to manage the company?" Leona mused aloud in the car. "He keeps pushing me to take over the family business. When will it end?" I thought for a moment and said, "How about we have a child and transfer this huge responsibility to him? Wouldn't that solve the problem once and for all?" Leona froze for a couple of seconds and then slammed on the brakes. She looked at me, blushing furiously. "What did you say?" I said once and for all. I took out the ring I had prepared, opened it in front of her, and oddly enough, I felt a bit nervous. This isn't the right place or time, but the atmosphere is already set. I don't want to miss this moment. "So, Miss Leona, will you marry Mr. Joey?" Leona's eyes filled with tears. She threw herself into my arms, nodding repeatedly. Yes, I will.